Hey YouTube, what's going on? Chris here. Want to bring you guys a little update on Litecoin. It's been making a little move today, so figured I'd bring you guys a little update on Litecoin. Guys, if you could like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I really appreciate it, and I especially like talking to my Litecoin people here, guys. It is really truly one of my favorite projects, and it has so much upside and potential and adoption that's taking place. So if you guys are a Litecoin fan, you guys have stuck around with it, put it down low what you guys have been doing with it, and if you do have that confidence in it as being one of the market leaders the next bull run. So I want to hear your guys' opinion on it. And guys, what we're looking at here today, we are at 31.98 and we're up 2.37%. And now what we're seeing here, guys, if we go to this Fibonacci, we're staying up above this 0.618. So traders and bots have defended this area, and that's the crucial area for a bounce typically. So typically, guys, we'll get a nice little bounce here and we'll make it up to the 0.382. A lot of people would take profits there, or up to the 0.236. And say we were to close up above that, guys, that would be a really big deal, because then we would just have to deal with this $40 range, and then we'd have a little bit of room to run, which would be nice. But the fact that the 0.618 is being defended here, and that was at 29.46, is very important. That's a very important level. Now, what else I'm looking for today here? We're looking at this Litecoin on the day chart. We're looking for us to close up above the 0.5, so 31.75. And you can see right now, guys, we're just splitting it. We're dead even on it with this candle. We're going to have to see where this candle closes there. We're going to close below the 0.5, or are we going to, just float in between the 0.618 and the 0.5? That's something we're going to have to look at. Or are we going to drop below the 0.618? If we drop below the 0.618, then our next targets would be at around 27.55, and that's where this bullish engulfing candle came in and pushed us to the upside until we saw this shooting star candle, and then we got pushed to the downside and we broke this trend line. Do you see this trend line that we had in place here, guys? Once we broke that, now we've just been kind of moving sideways. So that's where we haven't made up our mind yet. Now, what's good though is our RSI, we're at 50 right now, which is good. We're just kind of neutral there, and you can see we're starting to point up. You can see this here, and then we made a higher low, and then we're trying to go up here. We're going to try to get over the 52 on the RSI, and if we get over the 52, then we're going to have a little bit of room to run up to around 57 here. Then the overall top that I'm looking at is to see if we can get over the 66 range, which would be very important for us. Now, what I want you guys to also note, though, is the simple fact that volume is going down, though, right? So if we were to continue to go up and maybe make another move and see if we can set a higher high than this here, because here was our high, here's our higher high, we need to set another higher high here to keep this moving. That's crucial for us, that we keep that moving, guys. But the tough thing is we have all this overhead resistance, and we also have this trend line that we're going to have to deal with. We're going to have to go back up here, and we could test that and potentially fall back down farther, or we could get back up in there and start making our way again. But it's crucial that these higher highs continue. And now you can see this is just that consolidation where we can break either way, guys. We can break to the downside, we can break to the upside. This is a very important area. Look at all this. Look at all the cluster here. So, think about the volume, though. It's going down. If we were going to make another move up, the volume would be going up, in my opinion. But guys, we got a few bullish indicators, we got a few bearish indicators, and in my opinion, I want to wait and I want to see where we close today. I want to see what we do with this 0.5 at around 31.75. That's going to be a very important area for me. And then also, guys, the test of 34.54, that 0.382 is going to be a big test as well. And these are the things I want you guys to pay attention to. And also with the RSI, what I wanted to mention too, how we were going up here and we were looking at the overhead resistance, the support that I want to see hold is around that 40. If we go back down under the 40, then we're going to have trouble. A lot of times that acts as overhead resistance, and you can go up and you can hit it, and then you can fall back down and hit it and fall back down. You can't get over top of it. So in my opinion, it's crucial that we hold that 40. And for us, it would be about 42 here that we would want to hold. So let's keep a really close eye on that, guys, and pay attention to that. Pay attention to this trend line here. And then also what I want to do, I want to zoom out and see if we're forming any type of patterns that we can just spot with our eye here. Because it's very important to step back a lot of times too, guys. So we're just going to look specifically at the candles here. and the moving averages. Now you see the moving averages, they're coming together here. We have, it looks like the 50 is trying to cross over top of the 20 there. Like they're kissing, they're coming close to each other here, guys, that 20 EMA. So we're going to have to see what happens here, if we just keep moving sideways with that, or if we're going to make a move up or a move down. So let's keep our eye on that. But remember, pay attention to that volume sloping down. Okay? So let's step back here and really take a look at this. We can draw some trend lines if we need to. Alright, so we're in continuation, guys. These lower highs have just been rolling in. The nice thing, though, we made that higher low, which has to happen as well. Now we're in that consolidation, guys, to see if we can break up to that higher high. And we're just going to see if this was a short-term little trend, and we're just going to roll over, and this was just a lower high, and then we just roll down here, or if we're really going to defend this, and we're going to keep the higher low in place. So let's step back. Let's take a look here. Alright, guys. So lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. And you can see them just coming in right there. So now we're at this standstill. Do you see how we're moving sideways, guys? We're at the decision point. Are we going to come up and make our first higher high? Essentially, if we could come up and break this here in the next week, 2 weeks, month, which would be amazing, or are we just going to roll back down and we could have another lower high? So these are the things you want to spot. Now, on the more bullish side, do you see here we're having these lower lows that were coming in, and now we didn't have another lower low yet. And is that going to be what gets put in? So a lower low would put us, guys, down around this $7, $8, $10 range, no problem. You could have that type of rollover if that does happen, and that's why maybe we are getting very close to the bottom here, because there's just not a lot of room left for this to run down, guys, if that makes sense. I mean, we've been in this bear trend here since May 5th, 2018, and now you're starting to see that flattening at the bottom. And is this the start of a potentially new cycle that's going to form down the road here, guys, in the next couple months? As you can see how it's just it's finding that floor. There's not a ton of room left to go, guys. Trends exhaust themselves. And now it's going to be time soon for the bulls to step back in and we start slowly moving back up. And that's how it works. There's only so much pressure to the downside, just like there was only so much pressure to the upside here, and then we needed a correction. And after this correction, we're going to need to make another market cycle. And that's where another market cycle, guys, at the peak could land us somewhere up in here, easily. Up in that range. I mean, you can see these peaks, how they're getting larger. And the next wave could very easily take us to $500, $1,000, somewhere in that range when it does happen. Could it take 2-3 years? Absolutely. But once we put in this floor, you see how we step back and we look at this, just like how this bull run was built. It was slow, it was built over time, then we had the blow off, we had the exhaustion. And now we're having this correction. And maybe we just have this floor here, guys, where we're moving sideways like this for the next year. We're bouncing between $50 and where we're at now, or $20. $20 and $50, and we're bouncing around before we make the next move. But another market cycle is going to happen, guys. This is the whole life of Litecoin. That's it. That's all there's been in terms of the chart. You don't think there's going to be another cycle that starts? You know, that's why you need to step back and really take a look at these things. And you can see the waves coming in here too, guys, just in terms of the volume. Take a look at the volume here. This is basically like a 1 wave, this is like a 2 wave, or a 3 wave, and then a 5 wave, your big impulse waves. And then this was your big 5th blow off wave, this was your 3rd, and that was your 1st wave. And remember, the 5th can be the longest. That there's no problem there. It's just the 3rd wave can never be the shortest, and it wasn't here. The 1st wave would have been. In terms of the volume, you see there, in terms of the sticks, the height of the sticks, everything, the volume that came in, that's what you want to look at. The 1st wave, the 3rd wave, and the 5th wave, those are all impulse waves, and then your 2 and your 4 are your corrective waves. So we've been doing some studying on that, guys, but you know, we really don't know yet. What if in terms of the macro trend, this is the 1st wave, and then we have, and this was the 2 correction almost, where we came down, and then we go back up for the 3rd wave. Because we haven't went down past the starting mark yet to make that invalid. This really could still be one full wave. And then we could go into our 3 wave. and then correct for our 4, that would put us around this old time, or this old time high here if we went back up. So basically what this would look like, guys, and this, I'm just playing around with you, having fun, because I'm seeing things right now. But you know, what if it is something like this, and we need to prepare for that? What if this was the 1, we have our 2, we have our big 3 that comes in over the next, you know, bull run whenever it takes place. We have our 4 that comes back close to the 1. It can't overlap the 1. So say we correct somewhere to $500, and then we push on from there for our 5th wave, which very well could put us somewhere. I want to keep it consistent, guys, somewhere around this range, $1,400–$1,500. And this is just looking at things. I mean, what if that was the case, guys? What if we did something like that, and that 3rd wave would even be larger than what the 1st wave was? But this is a potential. I mean, this chart's so young and it's so new that these market cycles are just going to repeat themselves and repeat themselves. You know, so we have to be aware of this. And I'm not saying any of this, guys, this is the case. I'm just looking at it and just standing back and saying, hey, you know, with how immature this is, what if that really was just wave number 1 in the larger picture? Because remember, we have all the different cycles, guys, from the sub-minute all the way up to the grand super cycles, which last, you know, decades upon decades. So this very well could be that scenario. Now we're just putting in that flat bottom. There's not much more selling pressure, and then we start moving back up slowly, guys, just like we moved up slowly here. I mean, it took a year and a half to move up just like that, and then you have that blow off top. And it was built on stilts, and it fell right back down. And we should have known that, but we know now, and we know for the next cycle, and we know for the next run, guys. So God bless each and every one of you. If you like these thoughts and opinions, put it down low, and take care, my friends.